Good morning, good afternoon, whichever time you happen to be watching this particular video. Hi, my name is Jason Porter. I am your Lone Star College teacher of online psychology. And I am just here to basically take you on a little tour, show you what the Lone Star requirement is for your grade here in psychology. I happen to also be a teacher at Cy Woods High School, so I do work for Psych ISD, but for all intents and purposes, our relationship, I am working for Lone Star. All right, I am with them. I am an employee of theirs. So you're going to be getting 2 grades for this particular class. You're going to be getting your Lone Star grade, which is what I'm responsible for. You're going to be getting your Sci-Fair grade, which is what your on-campus teacher is responsible for. And how they break that down in their 60-20-20 format, how much of this material they take to include into that, how much they add of their own, whatever, entirely up to them. I just sort of want to take you through the Lone Star point. Now, in order to get in touch with me, you can use my Lone Star email here, jason.porter@lonestar.edu, or you could even use my Sci-Fair ISD over here. Just please, when you do, let me know which class you are from, because I'm currently teaching 3 different sections of this. I've got one this semester at Cy Springs. I've got 3 different classes or 2 different sections this semester at Langham Creek. So please, when you reach out to me, make sure you tell me I am in this section. This is my course section number, so I can go into and figure out whatever the particular issue happens to be. Just make my life a little bit easier on that. So I'm going to sort of navigate this through. Let's see what your Lone Star grade is, how you get to it, and we'll just sort of work our way through there, if you would. All right. So with that being said, let me move myself over here, make my face smaller. Always a good thing when I can make my huge head smaller. All right. So dual credit psychology, your Lone Star College grade. Now, again, this is exclusive of your Sci-Fair grade. Your Sci-Fair ISD grade is determined by your on-campus teacher. They are just there to make sure you also do this work as well. So you've got 16 total chapters. They're divided into 8 units, also known as modules. Most of the units are 2 chapters. One is 3, another one is 1, but most of them are divided amongst 2. Total points equals 1,000 points, and the Lone Star has a different grading standard than Sci-Fair ISD does. At Lone Star, you get 90 to 100, it's an A, 80 to 899, it's a B, and this is where it gets different. 70 to 799 is a C, whereas at Sci-Fair ISD, it's the 70 to 750 would be a D, but instead a D is 600 to 699, F and below is 599. Now, is it possible that you could get a D and still get credit? Yes, but it might have an impact on your standing at Lone Star, as well as your standing on your particular campus, whether or not you can continue to take dual credit. All right, so with that being said, let's look at how you can get up to this 1,000 points, which is basically broken down 320, 20, 240, 320, 100. So first 320 points or 340 points, if you add the other one in, is what is called discussion posts. So you will have a discussion post for each chapter, equaling 20 points times 16 is 320 plus another as an introduction. Here's who I am. This is a really, really simple grade that shouldn't take a lot of time. Now, I am going to require that there is a certain number of words that you put into, so you're not just going, hey, this is cool. Enter. And what's really important is it is your opinion, and it's kind of hard for you to get your opinion wrong, but your opinion also needs to be in fact. Okay, it's very possible that 2 people can have 2 entirely different opinions about social media impact on adolescent development, but what's very important is your opinion is based on fact, not because I think so. All right, there's got to be some psychological factor to it. So 10 points of your discussion post is going to be your conclusion. And this conclusion could be based on a reading, could be based on a video, could be based on a graphic, whatever. So 10 points of it is you're taking that and you're putting it in your opinion. The other 10 points comes from responding to 2 other students. So you go to someone else's opinion or fact or conclusion, whatever, and I agree with that because, or I disagree with that because, or I found this interesting. So you get 5 points for going to one and 5 points for going to another for a total of 20 points. Okay. So 340 points or a 30-year grade is just this, which is pretty easy. Then we've got chapter activities, which are 15 points each, times 16, which comes out to 240 points. All right. And these can, again, be video review, video guides. It could be a little reading and you take a little quiz on it. There's a lot of different types of activities, one for each chapter. Again, a total of 240 points. And then finally, not finally, but another part of your chapter grades are going to be chapter quizzes. At the conclusion of each quiz, you will take a 10 question, I think a couple of them are 15 question quizzes worth a total of 20 points. Each times 16 is 320 points. So about another third of your grade comes in right there. So this gets us up to 900 points. Now, when it comes to the quizzes are opened up when the unit is opened up, but depending on your teacher is going to determine sometimes when you take them. If your on-campus teacher says, hey, take them anytime you want, you take it anytime you want. If your teacher specifically instructs you, hey, we're going to take this in class together because I want to keep an eye on you, that's totally up to them. Okay, I am just going to get the grade from the computer because the computer automatically grades it. And then finally, your last week of school, you will take a final exam. You have to take this final exam. All right, it's 100 questions, 1 point each, 100 points. You put those all together, that is your 1,000 points. There are no exemptions to this particular final. Now, when you do this material, your teacher on campus can kind of work out for you, but here is what I am going to tell you. This is basically a breakdown, if you would, of the semester. And I am going to open up Unit 1 on August 29th. It will be opened up on August 29th. It will close on September 6th. Now, with that being said, you can do your activities and your discussion posts need to be done prior to the 6th, okay? They're due on the 6th, as well as your unit tests for both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, you'll see here, are due there. Now, if you wanted to pace yourself and do one little section a day, you could cover the scientific method here, correlation causation there, experiment sets. These are the different lectures that I have pre-recorded. If you want to pace yourself, if you want to knock it all out in the first 3 days, that's fine too. If your on-campus teacher says, hey, we're all going to take this quiz together on Tuesday, that's fine too. You just have to have all of your chapter discussions, all of your chapter activities, and both of your chapter quizzes done by midnight on the 6th for Unit 1. Once we get past midnight, it's closed. So if you didn't do your activity, it's a 0. If you didn't do your discussion post, it's a 0. If you did your discussion post but only replied to one person, that's -5 right there. So everything is due at that moment. There is no late work. There is no retest redo. What you do is it. I'm not going to go back and open things up because, again, this is your Lone Star grade. If you were absent this entire week, you got to have it done by the 6th. There is no late work. There is no attendance requirement because if you're absent, theoretically, you would be home. This is online. Should be able to get this done. So again, Sci-Fair policies of retest redo, Sci-Fair policies of you've been out 5 days, you have 5 days to make it up. None of that applies to this. Okay. Now, retest redo, late work, whatever, what your teacher wants to do for you is entirely up to them. As a matter of fact, if I grade this stuff and your teacher goes back and regrades it and gives you more for your activities, less for your activities, more for your quiz, less for your quiz, it's totally up to them because that's your Sci-Fair grade. Your Lone Star grade, everything's due on the 6th. Everything's due on the 16th. Everything's due on the 4th. Everything's due on the 18th. Everything here is due on the 3rd, due on the 16th, due on the 5th, due on the 13th. Final exam, open those 3 days. Cut, dry, that's it. That's the calendar. All right. And again, if you finish up all of Unit 1 on the 31st, you're not going to be able to go to Unit 2 until the 7th. It's not going to be open till the 7th. Okay. So again, this is like you're taking another class outside of your Psych-Fair ISD classroom. Now, how much of this classwork your teacher decides to use is entirely up to them. If they take a look at this and they go back here and they go, hey, I'm going to count discussion posts as 20% of your grade, and activities is 20%, and quizzes is 60% along with your test, they can do that. If they want to go, hey, okay, this all counts for 20% of your grade, and then we're going to do 80% of the grade on campus, they can do that. They have complete carte blanche when it comes to your Psych-Fair grade. But your your Lone Star grade, getting confused myself, your Lone Star grade, this is what it is, okay? It is these particular things done on this particular calendar. All right, now, what I want to do real quick before we go back to this, I want to take a look, let's take a little bit of a tour here of what your class looks like. Now, again, you're not going to be able to get to this until the 20, where's the calendar? 20 something, the Monday after school starts for you. So if you are in 2301, 5D44, one of my Langhams is here, one of my Langhams is here, one of my Psych Springs is there, and of course I'm over here. Those are my on-campus kiddos, which is an entirely different thing. So let's just click on this because all 3 of these are alike. All right, so let's go ahead and click on here, and this is sort of what it looks like, okay? Your course management and content is really where you're gonna wanna go, okay? So as we go to content here, and let it sort of pop up here. This is sort of the introduction and everything else. This video will be put into this overview right here. And then here's sort of a welcome. I'll put the video in here as well. This is where a textbook is right there for Myers. Get rid of that. Oops. That's where the textbook is for Myers. There's a massive vocabulary. If you want to look at that, which can sort of help you out, we take a look at this right here. And this gives you a bit of a glossary that you can use. Sorry, my computer here at home is a little bit slow. Let's go back to my login. All right, so, but that document is there, and I'll show you other places that you can get it as well. Go back to Welcome to Psychology. All the way up here. Cool. All right, so there's a textbook, how-to videos, which will include this video will be put into there. This will be replaced with what I'm doing now. Your syllabus is right here that you can take a look at. Important due dates, the calendar for fall 22 is right there. Meet your professor. I'll put this video back there as well as a link to my webpage. Office hours to try to get in touch with me virtually. Now let's go to what the first module looks like, okay? Sorry about that. So as we go to module 1, all right, here's what you're gonna be doing. This is a link to my Google Sites webpage, which I'm gonna show you guys in a second. These are review questions that you can go to. That before you take the quiz, if you wanna take a look at some review questions, it's a PowerPoint presentation on questions that are over this particular video before you get to those quizzes. And it's just taken a while to load, and I apologize for that. Then we come down here where we've got a PDF copy of the textbook, a glossary of Unit 1, my website for Unit 1 to give you extra material. Now, when it comes to PowerPoint presentations, these are the PowerPoints for Chapter 1. Lecture 1, Lecture 2, and Lecture 3. Then if you come here, there are video lectures for Chapter 1. If we click on video lectures, then here we go, lectures for Chapter 1, Part 1, Chapter 1, Part 2, Chapter 1, Part 3. If you click on that, it will take you to YouTube, and you can click on that. Now this is going to be weird because both are going to be happening at the same time. And this is just me there going over the material that you can go through and watch that as well. Okay, now if we come back to where it says Chapter 1, Psychological Research, clicking right there. And so we've got all the videos and everything else. Now, when it comes to the activities, this is your first activity for Chapter 1, the placebo effect and ethics and experiments. So here I'm going to give you a 6-minute video you watch right there. I want you to watch 10 minutes of this video from this point to this point, and then answer these 3 particular questions. And then you're going to attach it. This is the video right there, there, and there. And then you'll write a little Word document answering these particular questions, not less than 200 words, not more than 400 words. And then you attach that document and I will grade it. Will be worth 15 points each. That's your chapter 1 activity. Now we come back to chapter 1. And then we get down to, so we're past the activity, and now we're at the discussion post. So here's a discussion post over Milgram and ethics, okay? Now, here is a link to a BBC replication of the Milgram experience, and here is a summary video of the Milgram experiment as well. And then here's a little graphic. Here's what they thought was going to happen. They thought when people were asked to shock somebody else up to a lethal 450 volts, they thought most people will go along with it at the beginning, but then most people are going to stop. But what actually happened was 2/3 of them went all the way to a lethal amount. We're no better than a Nazi. So after you watch this, this was looked at as unethical. Do you feel the participants were forced to take this action? How does this help explain people's following authoritarian leaders, dictatorships, cults, whatever? And then you will write sort of an opinion on that. Now, your original is worth 10 points. It's at least 100 words. Your 2 responses are 5 points each, at least 50 words for a total of 20, okay? It says 5 points off at past the due date, but you're not even going to have an option of turning it in past the due date. 9 to 10 points, well thought out statement that specifically makes reference to the material. 7 to 8 points, well thought out statement that does not make specific mention of the material. 5 to 6, the response was made but did not have much thought to it. 1 to 4, something was written. And so that would be that there. Now we come back here, back to chapter 1. And then we work our way down to your assessment, okay? Now again, due September 6th, starts on August 29th. Once you click on this and once you start it, you have 30 minutes and it's gotta be done. Now again, I gotta get rid of this to be completed in the classroom on January 26th. I gotta go back and correct that because that's the old thing. Your teacher will determine if it needs to be completed in class or not. That's gonna kind of be up to your teacher. I gotta change the due dates of this particular one as well. It's a good thing I'm doing this video right now because to not make this due till January 26th, that would screw everybody up. I need to make this is gonna open up on August 29th and it's gonna be corrected at that particular time. So I need to go back and correct that due date. All right, so then that's chapter 1. So you do chapter 1, you do chapter 2, make sure you get all that module done at that particular time. And that sort of takes you, it kind of takes you through what that is. So if we go back to here, where we last left off from current slide. So again, you're gonna get all of chapter 1 done at this particular time. You get all of unit 2 done at this particular time, all of unit 3 done at this particular time, on and on and on, okay? Now, some resources that you can go to. This is my website over here, okay? This is, you can go to this, you can use this. This is what my students use. Let me sort of pop this website up here. If we would, here I am. If you go to Google, here's how you find it. If you can't remember the address, if you just go to Google and you type in Mr. Porter psychology. Okay. Wow, Mr. Porter American Psycho. That's weird. But if you put in Mr. Porter Psychology, it'll take you to Jason Porter Psychology Google sites. It's the first thing to pop up. I need to go back and look at that American Psycho thing. So this is where you can sort of come to and everything else that my students need. AP Psych review material, that's just got material over for people to study for the AP Psych exam, how to write a video, whatever. But this is broken down by unit. For example, your first unit, your units match up with my students' units. So if you're someone and you're like, I really like to take notes, here are some outline notes that you can use. These outline notes are also connected to the Lone Star website as well. Here's a copy of the textbook we were talking about. Here is, if you want to come here, here is a copy of the vocabulary. Here are review questions for that particular unit that you could look at. Here is the PowerPoint. and there's a first lecture. Here are 3 supplementary videos on that particular lecture. Here is a PowerPoint on correlation experimentation. This is my lecture on PowerPoint. And here are the videos, including the video that we're going to be using in class, but that's sort of connected there. So you are more than welcome to go to this website, use this website. Apparently students from across the country are using this website, which it's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. So feel free to go to that and use that. So there's all the sort of material right there that you can also use. So again, the outlines right there, if you want to do it, your teacher may even require that you use that. But remember, you must be signed into a Cypher ISD account or a Google account to download any of this material. Okay, so with that being said, here's what we're covering. Unit 1, and this is my on campus, but your units are pretty much the same. There's a little bit of a trick here, but the first thing we're going to go over is we're going to talk about research and history. Is psychology a science? We're going to talk about correlation and causation. Just because this is a predictor that something will go up, does that mean that it causes it? We'll talk about the different perspectives of psychology. We'll talk about biology and evolution. Is everything physiological, also psychological as well? What does our attitude have to do with our mental health as well as our physical health? How much of us is pre-wired versus how much of us evolves and develops when we get into Unit 3, sensation, perception, and stress. Why do 2 people not experience the same stimulus the same way? Why does something cause you stress but doesn't cause me stress? And why don't zebras get ulcers? Why doesn't my dog laying over here just doing nothing? You little puppy, come here. This thing right here, she does not get ulcers. This dog just lies down and just wants food and everything else, but she's got no stress in life. Why? Why am I more likely to get a heart attack than this little sweet puppy right there? Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about memory. We'll talk about emotions. We'll talk about sleep. We'll talk about motivation. All very important things. We'll talk about memory and how memory is really faulty. It's really, your memory and my memory, we could both experience the exact same thing, but have 2 different memories of it, and neither of us are lying. A lie is when you know the truth and you know what happened, but you're given an alternate version. But a lot of times we just have false memories, because we didn't encode it the same way. We didn't recall it the same way. We're going through a different experience as we're recalling a lot of things. We'll talk about sleep and why sleep is so important to your health. We'll talk about the time of day. How the time of day that you're sent to the AP's office, not that you'd ever be sent to the AP's office, but what time of day you're sent there can have a lot to do with whether or not you get suspended. Were you sent there at 11 o'clock before your AP had lunch, and so they're a little hangry right now? Or was it right after a great meal? Was it right before they got good news or when they got bad news? All these things can have an impact. Okay, we'll talk about development. We'll talk about social psychology. Were you raised by the same parents as your siblings? And the answer is no. If you're the oldest child, you were raised by new parents and experienced parents. If you're the youngest child, you were raised by very experienced parents. And that might make them more harsh, but it also might make them more understanding. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why most people aren't most people any better than a Nazi during World War II? And the answer is no. We'll talk about social media and how it's revolutionized our development, good ways and bad ways as well. We'll talk about learning and thinking. We'll talk about rewards and punishments, Pavlov, all that fun stuff. We'll talk about illogical thinking. Someone who goes, I'm not going to get a vaccination because what are the odds that I'm going to get insert disease? Yet these people will still buy a lottery ticket. We'll talk about the world. Is it dangerous? Is it as dangerous as we think it is? Why do we think it's so dangerous? So we'll talk about heuristics, availability, representative, etc. We'll talk about a personality. We'll talk about Freud. Got to talk about Freud, but Freud's kind of out there. He had his own issues with his own mom and projected a lot of that in his theory. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Myers-Briggs, which everybody likes to come up with their 4 letters, but why those 4 letters are complete crap. Emotional intelligence is a greater predictor of success than your actual academic intelligence, and we'll talk about why. When it comes to disorders, normal. Are you normal? Well, your version of normal is different than my version of normal. We'll talk about that. And we'll say that the best type of therapy is, if you want to be a therapist to your friends right now, don't give them advice. Shut up, listen. because that's all we need. Sometimes we just need to be heard. Sometimes we just need to go up to someone and go, man, am I crazy? Or we just need to be heard. That is the best type of therapy. All right. So any questions? I can't answer right now because this is a video, but talk to your person on campus, wherever they might be, or email me if you have any questions. Real quick about me, this thing's all over the place. I did not get the timing of this down. Let me just hit all these buttons. There we go. That, and then there's that, and there's that, there's that. Boy, the animation's way off. Real quick about me, I went to high school in Ohio, then graduated from Robert E. Lee here in Texas. Doesn't exist anymore, go figure. And then I went to college at Texas A&M University. While in college and after college, I was a professional comedian, went on the road. And then when I got done doing comedy for a living, I was a radio DJ, which is why it does not bother me to sit here in my office and talk into a microphone and camera. It's kind of in my DNA. After I got out of radio, I went back into teaching. Taught at River Oaks Academy, Lima Senior, St. John's, Notre Dame Academy, taught various different subjects. Then I was a principal for a while in Detroit, Michigan. Then I came back to Texas and taught at A. Leaf Taylor, and I've been at Cypress Woods High School for, I guess, 16 years now. Various things that I've taught. Went back into comedy for a while until I got married back in 2011, and I now have a blended family and got many, many, many kids. I am sitting right here. This is kind of more for my kids back at school, but I am sitting right here, and you guys are seeing this projected out there, but this is my office. I am a child at heart. It's where I watch TV. I'm a child. I'm a big, big child. This is my family, and feel free to stop the video here. But this is my family I will talk about quite a bit when I give lectures and everything else. I have 7 children. It's a blended family. My wife brought in 6. I brought in 1. I've got 3 in-law kids that are married. So 3 of my kids are married. And I have 2 grandchildren that were just born in the last year. This is my wife, who is so far out of my league. It's ridiculous. She is an artist. And she is just fantastic. She's also suffered from depression and anxiety her entire life. As a matter of fact, I think I'll be attaching videos when we get to disorders where you may have the opportunity to go and watch them. I'll see if I can get those linked up. And she will tell her story of depression and anxiety and how she uses art and other things to sort of work her way through that. This is my oldest son, Austin, who is a event planner in New York City, works for Byte New York, was an actor for a while, went to Loyola Marymount to study acting, married his high school sweetheart, and they have been out, I think they just celebrated their 8th or 9th anniversary. Pretty good. It's Tyler, who just became a father on New Year's Day. He had the New Year's baby in Toledo, Ohio. He's now down in Columbus, Ohio. He works for Ohio State University, the Ohio State University, where he is director of development, which means he has people for money. To give money to the football program so that they can pay more players. All just a scam. Tyler is married, of course, here with Heidi, and that's his baby, Layla, and she's a beast. That's a big baby. My daughter, Faith, who graduated from Psych Woods in 2013, graduated from Texas A&M last May. She's a doctor of pharmacy. So she is a pharmacist, and she is also a mother right there of that little nugget, Olivia. And Faith got married over Zoom to her husband, Ben, who is huge. But yeah, they got married over Zoom, which as the father of the bride, let me just say, saved a lot of money. This is my son, Teddy, who also graduated from Cy Woods, played soccer there as well. He's up in Columbus, doing a little bit of missionary work, but also getting his degree in economics from Columbus State University. Quincy, who is my jock, played sports at Cy Woods, also in Columbus, Ohio, and he is working on joining the Columbus Police Academy. I think coming up here in the next year or so. Guy wants to be a cop, good for him. Duncan, who also graduated from Cy Woods High School in 2019 and currently is working in the restaurant business and wants to see if he wants to move his way up there. And Julia is the little girl who I brought into the equation, but I refer to all my children as my children. I've never used the word step to talk to my kids. Julia just graduated, so I'm an empty nester, so I can buy more crap and toys, but she's a great little kid, and I was a single father of her from basically birth till I got married to my wife 11 years ago. And these are my dogs. You saw one of them. I have 2 dogs, Tibetan Terriers, and I have 2 cats who are ragdolls, and they are just beasts and won't let me get anything done. So that's kind of it. It kind of takes you all the way through everything you need to know. Again, any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and I will hopefully answer them. Again, those are my 2 addresses right there. And again, everything I just told you is just, there it is, your Lone Star grade. I'm this guy. I'm over here. This is me. I am an employee of Lone Star Community College. All right. I may work for Psych ISD, but I am, in your intents and purposes, an employee of Lone Star. All right. How your teacher does your grade, entirely up to them. All right. That's it. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful semester. And please let me know if I can help you.